Hi there, friends. Today I'm going to do an upper body workout using classic yoga poses from Hatha and Kundalini. So I'm going to start in mountain pose at the top of the mat, raising the arms on the in-breath, and then diving down and stepping back into plank. Just adjusting here, taking deep breaths, maybe flexing and pointing the toes, keeping the weight evenly distributed in the hands, pressing down with the knuckles evenly, lifting the left foot, then lifting the right foot, just to warm up the body a little bit. We're going to lower to the knees and chaturanga push up down into a small back bend, a small cobra pose, reaching forward with the chest, kind of pulling the chest forward with those forearms, reaching the head up, looking up towards the sky if that's comfortable, or looking straight ahead. You can also just look down, putting the hands by the chest and pushing up into downward facing dog, stepping it out, shaking the head if that feels good, and just breathing deeply in this posture, reaching the tailbone towards the sky, pushing down the heels towards the ground as much as possible, just pressing with those hands. We'll lift the right leg and do a three-legged dog, stacking those hips, keeping pressure in our hands, and then dropping that right foot back for Wild Thing, pointing the left foot, reaching the right arm back, just keeping energy in that line from the left foot to the right hand. Then we're going to land in a side plank. Right leg stacked over left, reaching the arms towards the sky, reaching the right arm towards the sky, balancing on the left hand. You can raise your right leg up, keep it strong, try to hold that balance just for a moment. We'll end up in plank, then downward push up into upward dog, keeping the knees off of the mat, looking up towards the sky, pushing with those hands back into downward facing dog, pedaling out the legs. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Three-legged dog, stacking the left hip over the right hip, pushing that tailbone up towards the sky, trying to straighten our torso as much as possible, even if we have to bend the right knee. The heel does not need to touch the ground, but if it feels good, you can keep some pressure there and reach towards your mat. We'll drop that left foot down towards the ground behind us for Wild Thing, reaching the left arm behind us and straightening the right leg, pointing the right foot. Just pushing up with the hips, and coming back to a side plank, balancing on the right hand, the right arm, keeping the body as straight as possible, straight and strong, breathing deeply, maybe reaching the left hand towards the sky, raising the left leg, keeping this posture strong. This is star plank pose. We'll end up back in plank, Chaturanga push-up into upward dog again. Breathing deeply. And then with the breath, we'll exhale into a child's pose, reaching the tailbone towards the back of the mat, reaching the arms forward, giving them a little break. Breathing here. Trying to touch our heels and lower that tailbone towards the mat, keeping the forehead resting on the ground. And the next inhale, we'll raise to a tabletop position and sit on our heels for thunderbolt pose. Resting here, just breathe deeply and observe how the body has changed from when you started. Next, we'll kick out the legs and sit in staff pose, resting here again, and just observe here. Keep the spine straight, the crown of the head reaching towards the sky, the legs stretching out. You can press down on the mat with your hands if that feels good to you. Just breathing. And try to raise your bottom off the ground with your fists. And then just drop down. A couple times. We're warming up the arms. You can also do this in lotus pose. Cross your legs. Lift the body off the mat as best as you can, balancing on the fists. Just let your body drop. These are Kundalini drops. Using our ab muscles, we'll lower the torso down slowly and end up on our backs, lying on our mat, the legs straight. Resting for a moment here, breathing, observing, feeling our bodies. We'll put our hands under our butt and raise the chest up towards the sky and let the head hang back for a fish pose. Pointing the toes, stretching those legs, stretching the chest, keeping the weight on our elbows, and reaching up that spine, arching that spine as much as possible. Then we'll slowly lower, release our hands, rotate our wrists, and using our abs, we'll lift up, straighten our arms, and put the weight on our heels, lifting our hips up off the ground for reverse tabletop position. We can do one leg at a time for an added challenge. Straighten the right leg and keep the weight on the left heel and the hands. Switching legs, just remember to breathe and keep that body straight and strong, those abs and hips tight while breathing. Just for a moment, we'll exhale and sit back down into staff pose and do a forward bend, grabbing our toes, using the strength of our arms to maybe pull our head closer to the top of our mat, just letting the spine bend forward. We're neutralizing the poses we just did, the little back bends. In lotus pose, now we'll lean forward, place our hands on the mat, step or hop into plank, and end up in upward facing dog, however you'd like. Then on the exhale, we'll push back into another downward facing dog. Breathing deeply. adjusting. Good job. Next, we'll lower our elbows to the mat. You can lift your head and look towards the mat if you'd like, or let your head hang loose. This is Dolphin pose. Keep the weight mostly in the forearms. You can clasp your hands together for this next part, and we'll move into plank, straightening the body, holding that pose, then lifting up on our arms to a full plank. So you can see here I'm alternating arms. You can continue this, or you can keep alternating between the lower plank and dolphin pose. Now we'll hop towards the top of the mat. Straighten those legs to stand. Do a forward fold, just as we were when we were sitting. We'll grab our toes and use our arm strength to pull our head closer to our toes. Bend your knees if you have to. Rest your torso on your thighs as best as you can, keeping that tailbone reaching towards the sky, keeping the weight mostly in the heels. We're just letting the torso go here, using our arm strength. Halfway lift, then full standing mountain pose. We'll step the legs about 2 hip width distances apart. Then on the next exhale, we'll do another forward fold, keeping a bend in the knees, pulling the torso forward, letting the head hang. This is hand to big toe forward fold. Try to straighten the back on the next inhale for a halfway lift. Then we'll lower back down and reach our fists behind our heels for a floating lotus pose. Try to cross those legs. I have not mastered this posture yet, but 90% of the pose is just effort and energy. So we're just trying to raise our legs off the ground just for a moment. Then we're lowering down into lotus pose. Just breathing, putting your hands into prayer, bowing towards your heart. Just observing this energy field you've created. Congratulating yourself for that warm up. We can roll our shoulders, roll our neck. Then we'll do this last Kundalini exercise, clasping the hands together, pointing the fingers, the index fingers, for arm swings. We'll swing the arms up overhead on the inhale, and on the exhale, swing them forward in a very controlled, fluid motion. You can sit in lotus pose or on your heels. We're doing fire breath here. So on the inhale, we're filling the belly, and on the exhale, tightening the belly and emptying it out. So we're inhaling on the upswing, exhaling on the downswing, keeping the breath as the anchor. It's gonna sound like this. You're not trying to get a full breath, you're just doing more of a meditation kind of breath control. When you're ready, just hold the arms, hold that inhale, and just feel the air and the renewed circulation in your body. And on the exhale, let it all go. Thank you so much for joining me I hope this was helpful to you. Namaste.